Apple stock adjusted for splits is if you were to go back and reverse all the splits, it's trading for around 30,000 per share. And so Bitcoin at 30,000 a coin, right? I mean, when you combine gold with a messaging app, you have this phenomenon, and it's not going to get shrink. It's only going to expand exponentially. It's exponentially expanding. So it has to reach some stasis or equilibrium price where it flips over to unit of account. And that's, I think, it's got to be a lot closer to the valuation of gold. So that's a 20, 30, 40x from here. You know, the other thing is people say, well, it seems like it's a high price and maybe I should sell it. Remember, there's never only one decision when you sell something. There's always two decisions, because after you sell something, you have to buy something. Yeah. Right? Even if you go back into cash. So the question is, okay, am I going to sell my Bitcoin and sit in fiat money? You know, that would be something. Even Dr. Kevorkian, the suicide doctor, wouldn't recommend something as stupid as that. So then what are you going to do? You're going to buy the stock market? You're going to buy Tesla stock at 1,000 times earnings? You're going to buy the bond market at a 300-year top? A 300-year high for the bond market? Is that where you're going to park your funds with negative interest rates? Right. So where are you going to sell your Bitcoin and go where exactly? And do it doesn't make any sense.
This system, because the world is under a U.S. empire, it's up to the U.S. Only the U.S. could fix the situation because they're the ones in charge. But like Warren Buffett had said with the derivatives, like, where do they even begin? There's so much fraud in derivatives and debt, and nobody knows who owns what. And, so this country, we can't even distribute a vaccine. We don't even make masks. Like, we're sitting at home for 10 months printing up like hundreds of years worth of currency because we don't know how to make a mask, and nobody apparently knows how to make a mask in this country, a face mask, a medical mask. Yeah. So, I mean, what do you think that sort of country can fix the system that they created?
In the case of the fiat money avalanche, think of it like Niagara Falls, right? There's a Niagara Falls of cash that's coming into the system, and you're in a barrel and you're heading for the edge of the falls. And you get to the point where we are now in America, where the barrel has now gone over the edge and it's now falling down Niagara Falls, and it's going to head for the rocks. So the question is, what could stop the barrel from falling and hitting the rocks below? And the answer isn't absolutely zero, because, for example, a flash freeze could happen. Sure. And freeze Niagara Falls, and stop the barrel. A helicopter could come, and you could extricate yourself from that barrel, and you could avoid death. Okay. Sure. What is the probability of that? I would say it's not absolute zero, but it's close. Yeah. So I say, okay, what's the probability that the Niagara Falls of cash, which is destroying the American economy and the global economy, and we've got Bitcoin, which is now on a parabolic move, people escaping the blazing fire that is the fiat money bonfire of nuts running the system. What is the probability of that changing and going in reverse? And I would say, if it's not absolute zero, because you never know, aliens could show up, like Paul Krugman believes in aliens coming into America.
The Galactic Federation.
The Galactic Federation could show up. Area 51. You can't say it's absolutely zero. But I think it's as close to zero you ever find in the money management business. With Bitcoin, I say there is no top, because when it comes to the dollar, there is no bottom. And also, you're going on 300 years of history. No fiat money has ever survived, right? They've all gone to zero or lost 99.9% of their purchasing power. So, that seems like I've never seen a more lopsided, one-sided bet in the 40 years that I've been involved with Wall Street, investing technology, startups as a CEO. And I've done everything in this business you could possibly imagine. I've never seen a more lopsided upside bias than I have with Bitcoin. We had Paul Volcker in the late 70s, was the last central banker that understood the role of the central bank. Alan Greenspan completely rewrote the mandate of the central bank as being the Greenspan put era, where he said, it's not our job to try to take the punch bowl away when the party gets too raucous. We're simply here to mop things up after the crashes. That's what he said many times. And also in retirement, he has recanted and said, actually, I was completely wrong in my entire ideology about central banking, and I apologize. He said that when he left office. But Jerome Powell was never hawkish. He, from day one, was a dove, and Janet Yellen is the dove, and Ben Bernanke is a dove. And if you cannot get that job unless you are a dove, what could derail Bitcoin? Would be suddenly there is enforcement of the law. Suddenly people start enforcing laws, right? And I think the probability again of that is zero, because an economy that is, the business model is fraud, that you can't take that away, right? So the business model of JP Morgan is they keep 90 cents of every dollar they steal, right? So they pay 10 cents in a fine. They just paid $1 billion fine for manipulating the gold price. How did they pay for that fine? By manipulating the gold price, right? So there's no law enforcement. Eric Holder said, we can't enforce law on Wall Street because it's national security. So if you're on Wall Street and the Attorney General just gave you a green light to commit fraud, to stay competitive, you need to commit fraud. So if you're virtuous, you're going to be out of business in a New York minute, right? You're done. You're toast. And so I don't think that, and it's not going to change anytime soon. That's not going to change. And their whole processes are linear, and Bitcoin is expanding exponentially. So they're going to a gunfight with a knife, right? Every single, like coming out with a central bank digital currency, that's a rear guard action. That's too little, too late. Reinventing fiat money means nothing to Bitcoin. Bitcoin separates state from money.